There is a poison that tastes like honey. We drink it every time we scroll through a screen. Every time we look out a window at a life that isn't ours. It is the quiet, burning belief that they are happy. And we are the mistake. Ben didn't just envy David. He hated him. Not because David was cruel, David was kind. Which made it worse. If David were mean, Ben could dismiss him as a villain. But David was perfect. He walked through the world as if gravity didn't pull on him the way it pulled on Ben. Every morning was a ritual of comparison. Ben would wake up in his cramped room, the air smelling of stale heat and old dust. He would put on the same shirt with the fraying collar. He would look in the mirror and see average. He would see forgotten. Then, he would step outside and see David. David, who arrived in a car that purred like a sleeping lion. David, whose clothes fit like they were tailored by someone who loved him. David, who laughed with a lightness that Ben had never felt in his entire life. Why him? Ben whispered to the cold air. Why does the universe lay down a red carpet for him and scattered glass for me? It wasn't just about the money. It was about the ease. Ben felt like he was swimming upstream in a river of mud, fighting for every inch. David seemed to float downstream on a raft of gold. Ben began to keep a mental ledger. David got an A on the test without studying. Ben studied for 3 nights and got a C. David's skin was clear. Ben fought breakouts that made him want to hide his face. David's father picked him up with a smile. Ben's father came home too tired to speak. The ledger grew heavy. It became a physical weight in Ben's chest. He started to believe the most dangerous lie of all. That happiness is a limited resource. And David had stolen Ben's share. It broke on a Tuesday. It was raining, a cold, miserable drizzle that soaked through Ben's thin jacket in seconds. He was shivering at the bus stop, his shoes letting in water. And then David appeared. Not wet, not cold. He stepped out of a warm shop holding a new leather bag. He looked peaceful. He looked like the main character of a movie where nothing bad ever happens. Ben felt something snap. It wasn't anger anymore. It was despair. He felt the universe was mocking him personally. He turned away, walking blindly down the street, needing to escape the sight of David's perfection. He walked until his legs burned, until he found himself in the part of town where the shadows stretched long and the buildings leaned close together. He stopped in front of the antiquary, Mr. Harlen's shop, then entered, bringing the storm in with him. He slammed the door, hoping the noise would shatter the silence. Mr. Harlen was there, polishing a silver mirror. He didn't look up. "You carry a lot of noise for such a quiet boy," the old man said. Ben didn't apologize. He was too full of the poison. "It's not fair," Ben blurted out. The words vomited out of him. "It's just not fair." Mr. Harlen stopped polishing. He looked at Ben over the rim of his glasses. His eyes were ancient, like deep wells. "What isn't?" "Life," Ben said, his voice trembling. "Some people get the gold. Some people get the dirt. I'm tired of the dirt, Mr. Harlen. I look at David, and I see everything I'm supposed to have. Why does he get the perfect life?" Mr. Harlen didn't offer a tissue. He didn't offer a cookie. He walked to the back of the shop, his shoes clicking against the floorboards like a ticking clock. He placed a heavy leather ledger on the counter. It thumped. "You want to trade?" Mr. Harlen said. It wasn't a question. "You want David's life. You want his car, his clothes, his ease." "Yes," Ben whispered. The truth felt shameful to say out loud. But he said it. "I want his luck." Mr. Harlen opened the ledger. The pages were blank except for one line at the bottom. "Then sign," the old man said. "The universe allows trades, Ben. But it has rules. Strict rules." Ben reached for the pen, his heart hammering. Was this a joke? Or was this the magic he had always hoped for? Wait. Mr. Harlen's hand clamped over Ben's wrist. His grip was surprisingly strong. You do not buy a house without looking at the foundation. You do not buy a life without looking at the cost. This is part of the package, Harlen said. He slid the file across the glass. Ben looked. It wasn't a report card. It was a biopsy result. Stage 4. Terminal. David's mother, Harlen said softly. She has 3 weeks left. Maybe 4 if the pain doesn't take her first. Ben froze. The air left his lungs. And this, Harlen continued, sliding a bottle of pills across the counter. Anxiety medication. High dosage. For the panic attacks David has every night at 2 a.m. because he has to be the strong one for his father, who is currently drinking himself to sleep to forget his wife is dying. Mr. Harlen leaned in close. His voice dropped to a whisper that sounded like gravel grinding on bone. The universe does not sell parts, Ben. It sells whole packages. You want the new bicycle? Fine. You must take the chemotherapy bills too. You want the smile? You must take the sleepless nights. You want the perfect life? You must take the grief that is currently eating that boy alive from the inside out. Mr. Harlen pushed the pen toward Ben again. Sign. Take the car. Take the clothes. But you take the cancer too. That is the deal. All or nothing. Ben looked at the pen as if it were a knife. He thought of his own mother. She was tired, yes. She worked 2 jobs. They ate cheap pasta 5 nights a week. But she was there. She was healthy. She laughed when she burned the toast. I then stammered. I didn't know. Of course you didn't, Harlen snapped. Because you were too busy staring at the highlight reel to see the horror movie playing behind the scenes. The old man closed the ledger. The sound was final. Envy is the art of counting someone else's blessings instead of their curses, Harlen said. You look at David and see a lottery winner. I look at David and see a boy carrying a mountain on his back. And you dare to be jealous of his strength. For the first time in years, the heavy weight in Ben's chest vanished. The poison drained away. It was replaced by something sharper, something cleaner. Empathy. He realized he hadn't been the victim of the story. He had been the villain. He had looked at a suffering boy and wished to steal his life, not knowing he was wishing for a tragedy. Ben walked out. The world looked different. The colors were less sharp, but the shadows were deeper. He saw David across the street. Yesterday, Ben would have seen a prince waiting for his chariot. Today, Ben saw an exhausted boy waiting to go home to a house that smelled like sickness and antiseptic. Ben didn't walk past. He didn't look down. He walked up to David. David tensed, expecting a snide comment or a jealous look. He had seen them on Ben's face 1,000 times before. But Ben just stood there. He looked David in the eye, really looked at him and nodded. A slow, solemn nod. It wasn't a high five. It wasn't a smile. It was an acknowledgement. I see the weight you are carrying. David blinked. His shoulders dropped an inch. The mask slipped, just for a second, revealing the scared kid underneath. He nodded back. We all walk with bags we cannot put down. Some are filled with rocks we picked up ourselves. Some are filled with rocks the world gave us. But the heaviest thing in the bag is never the pain. The heaviest thing is the belief that you are carrying it alone. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. And if you knew the weight of their bag, you would not dare ask to trade.